Researchers discover a key clue to the enigma of the money pit. It appears that the study team has at last discovered a clue to the treasure hidden in the money pit, after spending many long and exhausting hours looking. On Lot 13, which is situated just northeast of the marsh, Rick Lagena, Tom Nolan, another landowner on Oak Island, and the other team members are getting ready to start another excavation. They are searching for significant proof. Although clay was found, it was rather obvious that it wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. They speculated that it might be a blue clay of some sort. When exploring an unusual rock formation known as the quadrilateral, Rick Lagena and the rest of the team recently discovered what may prove to be a crucial clue to the money pit mystery. At a depth of 40 feet, researchers started the first serious excavation of the ancient money pit in the year 1804. They found a layer of blue clay there at that depth, acting as a sealant to keep water out of the hole. Curiously, the researchers found the same substance in 2018 while looking at a ring-shaped stone monument called the Eye of the Swamp. Is it conceivable that the crew has now found proof that the quadrilateral was made by the same people who altered the swamp and built the money pit? If that's the case, it's a really intriguing development. If that makes sense, it somewhat reminded them of what they had seen in the money pit. Blue clay plays a significant role in the tale of the money pit's discovery in history. If you were attempting to keep water out of some sort of underground structure, would you be able to make use of that? It's possible that Rick Lagena's theory, according to which the presence of blue clay points to the potential existence of a structure buried below, is true. If so, what kind of structure could it be? And could anything of outstanding value be inside? The following morning, Rick Lagena and other crew members returned to Lot 13 so that geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner could look into the enigmatic quadrilateral feature that was providing a crucial clue to the money pit riddle. They felt that it was somewhat improbable that it could have spontaneously accumulated there. Additionally, they saw clay in a variety of colors combined with pieces of burned wood. These two items in no way, shape, or form go together. One of the group members remarked that the clay appeared to be split up and misplaced. There was an event that had a meaningful purpose and took place. There truly must be a reason for everything that happened since the story is so complicated. There was one little spot that had gotten a little worse. There were striations all over the metal, marking it. The thinness of the points gave the impression that they were made to be pushed into wood. Are you looking for a hand-forged iron staple or fastener? Since the 6th century BC, large metal staples have been employed often in the construction of both stone and wooden structures. Could this manually formed metal fastener be another proof that a structure of some kind is waiting to be revealed at the quadrilateral location? What kind of structure might it be in that situation, presuming the group has previously discovered blue clay, given that information? Anything that took place prior to the money pit's initial discovery has the potential to be considered original work. You will see that this so-called mainstay is actually rather puzzling when compared to the hard work that went into creating the Great Quadrilateral. What, if any, contributions does this facet make to the larger mystery? As of yet, nothing has been decided on that. Carmen Legg, a specialist in blacksmithing, meets with Rick and Marty Lagena, Craig Tester, and archaeometallurgist Emma Culligan at the Oak Island Interpretive Center to study the massive metal staple that was discovered the previous day. Its starting point is a fantastic quadrilateral. Even though it was a strange geometric figure, they had no notion what the specific feature represented. They have found no others of its kind on the island before. There are now countless conjectures regarding the type of wealth that might be hidden on the island, as well as how it got there. However, the William Phipps theory has won over a lot of supporters and is supported by a lot of data. The theory was refuted by writer and history enthusiast Hammerson Peters in a recent video that was posted to his YouTube channel. The majority of the information presented in the movie is taken from the book Oak Island and Its Lost Treasure, which first made the strong case for the conspiracy. The Peters have proposed the following idea, which can be summed up as follows. During the 17th century, William Phipps was a skilled explorer, and the English supported him financially. The Protestant majority, including the political elite and aristocracy, developed a strong dislike for the Catholic king when King James II came to power in 1685. James II adhered to Catholicism, or to put it another way, They plan to depose him. The following stories are word-of-mouth legends from the late 18th century because there is so little information about the early treasure-related operations that occurred on Oak Island that has been objectively verified. It took many years after the incident before publishers began to pay attention to this kind of activity and look into the stories involved. The tale of a treasure found by a settler named Daniel McGinnis was published for the first time in 1857. This is the story's earliest known telling. After that, it was another 5 years before one of the purported original diggers gave a testimony regarding the initial narrative and subsequent Onslow and Truro Company deeds. The earliest settlers in the region heard tales of a dying crew member of Captain Kidd's ship. The man said that Captain Kidd had hidden £2 million worth of treasure on the island. Captain Kidd passed away in 1701. According to the most widely recognized version of the story, Daniel McGinnis came across a dip in the ground in 1799 while looking for a place to build a farm. McGinnis asked for help from other people in order to dig because he believed that the depression fit with the legend surrounding Captain Kidd. With the aid of 2 people only known by the names John Smith and Anthony Vaughan, he dug out the pit and found a layer of flagstones 2 feet, 61 centimeters below the surface. The earliest documents, however, merely mention marks of some sort at these intervals. Later accounts report finding oak platforms every 10 feet, 3 meters, although previous accounts only make reference to marks. The various legends also mention the tool marks or pick scratches on the hole's walls. The soil was not as well packed as the soil around it, and it was visibly loose. The 3 men reportedly stopped their digging at a depth of 9.1 meters, 30 feet, because of superstitious dread. In an alternative interpretation of the story, all 4 of the main characters are portrayed as teenagers. According to this account, McGinnis first learns of the slump in 1795 while on a fishing excursion. The rest of the story proceeds in the same manner as the first, with the logs discovered as its focal point, but it ends with the 4 people giving up after they have gone as far as they can. For more current discovery stuff, remember to subscribe. They continued to excavate until they reached a depth of around 90 feet, 27 meters, where they discovered layers of logs, or marks, spaced about 10 feet, 3 meters apart. They also discovered a large stone with symbols engraved onto it, as well as layers of charcoal, putty, and coconut fiber. When the hole unexpectedly filled with water to a depth of 60 feet, 18 meters, the situation for the diggers grew challenging. The alleged dig was finally given up on after repeated fruitless attempts by workers to retrieve the riches from below by excavating a tunnel starting at a second shaft that was equally flooded. The most prosperous company of the pre-publication era is thought to have been the Truro Company, which is said to have been founded in 1849 by a group of investors. Re-excavation of the hole was placed all the way down to a level that was 26 meters, 86 feet below the surface. But it eventually overflowed once more. After that, it was decided to drill 5 boreholes into the machine's original shaft using a pod auger. Evidence of a covert tunnel is found by Gary. Could the numerous unresolved questions be resolved by this hidden tunnel? To learn more, keep watching. In a current episode of The Curse of Oak Island, the team, which also consists of archaeologists Dr. Aaron Taylor and Miriam Amaralt, geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner, and metal detector expert Gary Drayton, examines stone walkways and a potential cellar feature close to the swamp's eastern border. During their investigation, Gary and David uncover a signal embedded in a wall, which eventually results in the finding of a huge caster wheel hidden beneath. Gary speculates that this wheel would have been used on Oak Island during a tunneling project, adding to the other finds of tunneling equipment on the island. Gary finds evidence of a hidden tunnel, which raises the question of whose responsibility it was to place the item there in the first place, and whose it was to find it afterwards, the original depositors or the later searchers. The team plans to carry out more investigation into the caster wheel in light of this discovery. In the vicinity of the marsh's eastern edge, metal detectorist Gary Drayton and the rest of the team are searching for stone pathways and a possible underground structure. Along with Dr. Aaron Taylor and Miriam Amaralt, the team also includes Dr. Ian Spooner, a geoscientist, and other archaeologists. In the midst of their excavation, Gary and David find a signal in a wall, so they ask Aaron to assist them by taking it out. On Oak Island, Gary thinks there may have been a tunneling operation, and they discover a big caster wheel that may have been used in that. It is unclear whether or if this find was left by depositors or searchers, because it adds to the body of evidence of earlier tunneling tools discovered on the island. The group wants to store this discovery away for later investigation because it has caught their attention. Treasure hunter Gary Drayton used a metal detector and discovered not one but two distinct treasures. In the general area of Oak Island's shoreline, he made his first discovery. Drayton and his team found a button from an officer's uniform from the 17th century, although it is unknown to what branch of the armed forces it may have belonged. The military, on the other hand, might have buried some of the island's secrets, according to some evidence. Drayton and his colleagues made the second discovery that day not too far away, in a woodland. They found a tiny coin buried in the ground that they suspected to be another Maravedi from the 17th century, similar to the one that had been found at the end of the previous season. However, compared to the other coins, this one appeared to be significantly smaller, likely 2 Maravedis instead of 8. Even though they are small, these astonishing finds could point to a much bigger treasure that is hidden on Oak Island. Gary Drayton made a second double discovery while using his metal detector to search for wealth near Oak Island's shoreline. This time, Drayton and his team, along with Lagena, the team leader from Oak Island, unearthed 2 King Charles II Britannia coins from the 17th century buried beneath the rocks and pyrite that were scattered along the shore. One of the coins that was found has the year 1771 clearly printed on its surface, supporting the idea that the money is older than a few hundred years. These coins from the 17th century, whence did they originate? Could they have been dropped accidentally by somebody searching for buried treasure in a hurry? Or else, and this is where there is reason for optimism, could they have been left there by a wealthy group that was on Oak Island looking to conceal its own loot? The Oak Island crew would, without a doubt, have to do more investigation. Generally speaking, the history of treasure hunting on Oak Island can be traced back to the time the money hole was dug there. The pit, commonly known as the money pit, is supposed to contain the hidden wealth. An artificially made hole is the pit. According to folklore, when exploring the island in 1795, some young people believed to be 13 or 14 years old discovered a depression in the ground. They dug because they believed it to be a man-made pit, and as they dug, they discovered layers of wood and other objects. They tried to continue their exploration, but were thwarted by a deluge of unknown origin that flooded the pit. Following the rapid dissemination of the news of the discoveries, a flurry of international treasure hunters descended upon Oak Island in search of the hidden wealth. The first planned excavation of the money pit took place in 1803, under the leadership of a group of investors known as the Onslow Company. They were given their own money pit. The excavations had to be terminated because the parties' attempts to descend to the pit's floor were unsuccessful. The following century saw a variety of groups try to solve the island's riddles, but due to the enormous difficulties they encountered, none of them were successful. The hole was flooded, which was the most significant of these, and made additional excavation unsafe and difficult. The importance of this aspect was the greatest of all. Additionally, the pit was wired with a number of devices that, when activated, would cause the pit to fill with water and keep anybody from discovering the treasure. Despite these barriers, the excavations persisted, and the Oak Island Treasure Company was founded in 1861. The flooding that was taking place in the pit prevented this specific squad's attempts from progressing past a depth of 90 feet. As a result of the bankruptcy of the Oak Island Treasure Company in 1909, the excavations were abruptly ended at that time. Since then, a number of additional teams have tried to locate the riches that is hidden on Oak Island, but the enigma of the money pit has remained a secret. The discovery of the money pit and the initial excavations on the island both had a significant impact on the evolution of the island's history, as well as the ongoing search for treasure there. Even with the challenges and roadblocks that were encountered, this is true. Despite the various challenges and disappointments that have been encountered over the centuries-long search for riches on Oak Island, the mystery surrounding the island's location continues to fascinate people. The quest to unravel the mystery surrounding the island has recently been taken on by a number of new entities. In 2010, the Oak Island Tourism Society was founded as a group dedicated to preserving the island's history and encouraging tourism. The most notable change to have taken place in recent years is this one. The Oak Island Archaeological Society has played an important role in raising public knowledge of Oak Island and the treasure hunt, in addition to participating actively in several archaeological digs on the island. Get on the mailing list right away to learn about fresh information and surprising findings about Oak Island. The Lagena brothers will probably receive the lion's share of the treasure, it appears. First of all, the Lagena brothers' ongoing search of Oak Island is authorized by the Treasure Trove license. Licensed treasure hunters are allowed to legally keep 90% of any wealth they uncover, according to a government rule. Marty goes on to suggest that it is very likely that multiple claimants would surface and argue that they had a right to the treasure's contents if a sizable treasure were found on Oak Island. These claimants may rely on some element of their residence, their ancestry, or another factor to support their claims. There will undoubtedly be a lot of people trying to get their hands on at least some of the fabled riches, but it is impossible to say who, if anyone, will be successful. The Lagena brothers and the government would both have legitimate rights over at least some share of the treasure, making them the obvious choice for at least two recipients. However, it is impossible to predict if a situation like this would ever happen in The Curse of Oak Island. Team of researchers are shocked by my shocking revelation. For additional information, watch the video after this one.